Okay, awesome. Hi, Anna. Hi, Edson. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah,
Yes.
normal.
Awesome. Cool. I don't know what's happening down there, but I'll just ignore that. All right, so excuse that. I'm just going to introduce what we're doing today. This class is all about learning. So this is something that's relevant to everybody on Verbling because we're all learning a language. And languages can actually be notoriously tough to learn. They just take such a long time to get to a good level. It can sometimes be a bit disheartening when you invest hours and hours and hours of your time and you still feel like you're making slow progress. So today what we're going to do is have a look at an article with some tips for learning things faster. And we're going to see what we can do about helping share tips and share advice. Oh, that was weird. Right, I'm back, I think. I knew there was something funny about that. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry for that. Okay, so let's carry on. Anyway, the point of this class, as I'm trying to explain, is that we're going to be sharing our tips, basically, for how we can learn a language better. What works for us? What are the useful things to do, to use, resources, techniques, whatever it might be. So if you've booked a slot in this class, do come along in now. Apologies for the weird beginning of this class, but we'll see if we can get on with it. And just while we're waiting, if you haven't ever checked out Verbling teacher pages on Facebook, you might want to check those out because there's a lot of useful info there and you're able to get in touch with us if you have questions or if you'd like to find out more about what's going on here on Verbling. So, with that said, what we're going to do is just say hi to the students, and my question for the beginning of today's class is, what do you find the most frustrating thing about learning English? What's the thing that really gets you annoyed? So we'll say first of all hello to Anna. Can you start us off, Anna?
Hello, teacher. Nice
Hi.
to see you.
Nice to see you too.
What was your question?
My question was, what's the most frustrating thing for you about English?
To say something and don't pronounce it well, and people don't understand what I am saying. It's
Okay.
very frustrating.
Yeah.
But it's not the worst. The worst thing is when you learn something and you use it wrongly, and then you sound different than you wanna sound. Uh, for instance, I will give you an example. Uh, Once I learned that we should use it on earth to emphasize things, but I had no idea that I could sound impolite this way.
All right. Yes, I think that's you've brought up two really good points, but particularly the second one that you mentioned, I think is something that is really difficult because you can learn, you can memorize words or you can memorize phrases, but it's very difficult to find out actually how they're used, with what other words do they go, and where do they go in the sentence, and all of that kind of thing. So, good point. Great start. Thank you, Anna, and welcome. Natasha, hello. How are you today?
Hello, I'm fine. Thank you for asking. What about
Wonderful.
you?
I'm great, thank you also. So Natasha, tell us, what is the most frustrating thing about learning English for you?
Uh, for me, okay, I think that I spent a lot of time by learning new English words, but unfortunately I forgot them very quickly. So I need to repeat them again and again, and only in this case I can learn them. I can have them in my memory more longer.
So yeah, I see your point, Natasha. It does take a very long time to actually put things that you learn in your long-term memory, right? You can remember them for like a day, but then if you don't practice them, you forget them again. Good point. All right, thank you for sharing that. Wonderful. Welcome to the class.
Thank you.
Susan, hello again. How are you today? Are you there, Susan? No, I can't hear you actually. That's a bit strange. All right, I will come back to you in a moment. Let us say hello to Ahmed. How are you, Ahmed?
I'm fine, thank you.
Wonderful. Tell us what you find really frustrating about English, learning English.
Many things actually. I think
the list is long.
The most frustrating thing for me is writing, I think.
Okay, why?
It's because I think when I just want to write in a formal way and I had to take care of grammar, punctuations, everything shall be good.
Yes.
So writing is the most hard thing for me. Also, I use writing a lot in my work in English. Actually, sometimes we don't care about these details. You tell us about it, but it's still very hard for me.
Yeah.
To make a good grammar, to make all this, everything is perfect. It's very hard for me.
Yeah, for sure. So I think the thing that you're sort of saying about writing, Ahmed, is that all of your mistakes are on the paper for everybody to see, right? When you're speaking, it's kind of like, oh, you can skip by a few things, and if you make the odd mistake, it's not such a big deal. But with writing, it's there forever, right?
Yeah.
So can be a bit, yeah. I know what you mean. All right, so welcome. And thank you for sharing that one. So we've got a bit of a list going on here. What we're going to try and do is to try and come up with some ideas to help these problems later on. So, Ksenia, how are you today?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you.
Wonderful. How many eyelashes have you been done lately? Have you been working hard?
No, actually, I because the winter is coming or something like winter, I feel lazy, so I don't work a lot.
Fair enough, Ksenia. So, maybe you can put some time towards your English instead. What do you find the most annoying thing about learning English? Frustrating? Gets you annoyed?
Of course, I think the most annoying is that I don't have as much time as I want to have on learning English, because someday I have a lot and I can learn a lot of words new, and the other day I don't have 5 minutes. I don't have 5 minutes to repeat the words, so I forget it. Yes,
absolutely.
It's very frustrating.
So almost like a lack of time or irregular study time. You don't have as much as you'd like, and then you get into the problem which Natasha was mentioning, where you start forgetting what you've learned.
Yes.
Okay, good one. Thank you, Ksenia. Welcome. Edson, hello, welcome.
Hello.
Have I met you before, Edson?
No, not yet. This is the first time.
There you go. Wonderful. Hello. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Where are you from?
From Brazil.
Okay, welcome. Yep. So Edson, tell us about your perspective. What do you find most frustrating about English?
Most frustrating is when you are talking to somebody and you have a lot of ideas, but suddenly you stop talking because you don't know not just how to pronunciate the word, but you don't know you have been memorizing the words, but to say something is pretty difficult. You stop talking and stop thinking. You try to think in some words, but it's impossible to say that time.
Yeah.
and as well as when you try to memorize a plenty of words in 1 minute or two, or sometimes, and you try to memorize, for example, 20 words or just a little, just a little less, or more words, and you hear, you hear, you read, but nothing get in it. It's not possible to ingrain the words in your mind, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
And some grammar as well is kind of difficult to memorize, to remember, because you wanna say, but you say something wrong, and you try to you try to, how can I say this, you try to remember what you said,
Mhm.
but you try to correct yourself,
Yeah.
for example. And it's a pretty difficult to do this, and as well as when you are listening to others and you try to correct them as well.
Okay, so maybe a bit of a struggle with using what you've learnt or what you think you've learnt. So learning something is one thing, but actually using it correctly is another story altogether. And it can be really tough to try and remember what you've learnt and then to say it right when you need it, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And I try to do something like when I am hearing something from a friend, for
Mhm.
example, and he say something, and but he doesn't realize that he made a mistake, and I just correct him in my mind, but I don't. Sometimes I am just a little scared to say to him that he made a mistake, and because it's kind of boring, maybe, I don't know. Oh,
Yeah,
because I don't know how he's
yeah,
gonna show me the situation. Oh, you're correcting me. Why you're correcting? Let me correct
yeah,
myself.
yeah,
Like
for sure.
this.
I think that probably depends on the person as well, Edson. Um, you could maybe talk to him and say, look, would you be interested in just keeping an eye on each other's English? And if you hear me say something wrong, tell me and I'll do the same for you.
Yeah.
And then it prepares him ahead of time so he doesn't feel like you're going, I know English better than you, so haha.
So sorry.
Yeah. All right.
That's
Thank you,
great.
Edson. Nice to meet
Okay.
you. Welcome.
You too.
Jose, hello. Welcome.
Hello, Javi.
How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for asking. And you?
Yes, thank you. I am too.
Okay.
So, Jose, spill the beans. What do you find
Yes.
frustrating?
Okay. Sometimes I feel frustrated because I don't like to commit mistakes. And then when I realize that I've committed a mistake, I feel frustrated about it. And I think I don't realize that I don't realize that I am learning English. Sometimes I have bad feedback about the improvement learning English, and
Mhm.
study foreign language
Yeah, absolutely.
it takes a long time. I think you can't learn English in 1 2 months. It takes years to learn English properly.
Mhm.
I think one of the things more difficult about learning English is the pronunciation. The pronunciation is a very difficult task. I think if you are native, you don't have to make effort to learn about pronunciation, about writing. You learn the language in a natural way, but the people that we are here learning English. All of us are foreigners. Then it's more
Yeah.
difficult to us. we have to make a big effort to learn English.
Absolutely, totally true. So making mistakes. I guess what you're really saying with that one is it's kind of it's you have to be courageous, kind of, really, to just even open your mouth. And then when you make mistakes, you've got to be resilient. You've got to be resilient because you have to swallow lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of mistakes before you get anywhere. And it can make you feel like, oh, I suck or whatever, make you feel bad about yourself. But it happens to everybody. It's kind of the only way to learn it, really. So, good point. Thank you, Jose. All right, Estella, hello.
Hi, Amy.
Nice. I don't think I've met you before, have I?
No, you don't.
All right, wonderful. So lovely to meet you. Where are you from?
I'm from Spain.
Which part of Spain?
In the southeast coast, in a city called Alicante.
Okay, very famous for wonderful beaches, right?
Yes.
Did you go to the beach over the summer?
I don't really like too much the beach.
Oh, Estelle, you're from Alicante and you don't like the beach?
No, maybe because I have next to my house.
Maybe. Yeah, fair enough. Well, it's lovely to meet you anyway, and welcome.
Yeah, me too.
So tell us about your frustrating English experiences. What do you find the most...
Yes, I have it clear. I really hate phrasal verbs.
All right.
Yes.
I thought somebody might say that.
So I find it really difficult because I don't have the... I learned the phrasal verbs, but I memorized them, but I really don't use them. So it's really, really difficult to know all the phrasal verbs if you don't use them.
Yeah.
So it's quite annoying for me.
For sure. I think probably the whole class could agree with you that phrasal verbs are one of those things that people find really hard about English in particular because they're so similar to each other, but they have so many different meanings. And as you say, it's really hard to use them when you don't have anyone to practice with that much.
And too many prepositions.
Prepositions, we'll add that one on. Excellent. All right. Thank you, Estella, and welcome.
Thank you.
Jean, hello, welcome.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing well too.
Wonderful. So, Jean, what is have you found anything left that we haven't got yet on our list of frustrations?
No, I think I'm going to summarize everything. But but for me, something that I'm struggling, and I think the problem is not the language. It's a problem with myself. I don't like grammar. I hate grammar. Either in my native language, the grammar was a problem for me. I think for this reason I study engineering instead, something like languages or something like that. But grammar, and sometimes something that could be annoying for me is the accent. And I'm not talking about my accent. I know that my accent is awful, but I'm talking about the accent from people who is native speaker. And sometimes it's pretty complicated to understand them. For example, for me, your accent is simple because it's a strong accent. But for example, when I hear people from Texas, they speak pretty fast and they join all the words and everything together. And sometimes my brain is like overwhelming, trying to figure out what they're trying to say. But on the other hand, sometimes the accent is pretty funny, like the people from Australia. When you watch television and see programs from Australia, for me, it's funny because it's a mix between a British accent and a local accent, and for me it's funny. But it's something that sometimes is annoying because you know everything, you know the words, and when they are speaking to you face to face, sometimes you don't have idea what they're talking about because their accent is pretty difficult.
Yeah, for sure. Well, there's two extra things that we didn't have, John, and I think you're right about accents. I've definitely found accents an issue when I've been learning other languages. But grammar, hating grammar, couldn't agree more. But I think there are some things that we can come up with today that can maybe try and work around these problems, and we're going to share our ideas. I also welcome John. It's lovely to have you, by the way. I just want to say hello to Adnan. Are you there?
Hi, teacher.
Hello, nice to meet you. Where are you from?
Nice to meet you too. I'm from Saudi Arabia.
From Saudi Arabia. Welcome. Tell us what you find most frustrating, Adnan, about learning English.
About me, spelling or when I want to write anything, I find very difficult to spell that because some letters is silent. I don't know how to write that. This big problem with me. In a little bit grammar, this is what I found very difficult in.
Okay, so grammar's one of the things that you share pet hates with Jean, and also speed, was it you said?
Sorry?
Did you say speed? I didn't quite catch what you said first, Adnan.
Sorry,
Did you mention?
I don't.
What was you mentioned that you don't like grammar, right?
Yeah.
But what was the point before that? You mentioned something else. I think I misheard you.
About grammar, I said because even in my native language, I found it difficult sometimes. When I take grammar with my teacher, if I try to use it, I find something different, not as I took with my teacher.
All right, so being maybe unprepared, possibly, or maybe not learning something in the classroom that you need for real life, something like that.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I found difficult with the irregular verb.
Yeah. All right, so thank you, Adnan, and welcome to you as well. So, guys, what we have is a list of different problems. And so what we're going to do is something slightly different today to what we sometimes do otherwise. I'm going to give you all the link to today's article, but we're not actually going to spend much time reading it today out loud. We are going to read it by ourselves. And what I would like you to do is to pick a problem. So hopefully you can all access the chat box, but I will read those out and I'll assign you a problem, one of the things that we've mentioned today. What I want you to do is just to spend a few minutes checking out the article, which has some tips for learning something faster in general, and see whether you can come up with any solutions or tips or ideas to overcome the problem that has been mentioned. So what we'll do is we'll specify the problem a bit more, and then we'll assign somebody to try and solve the problem. And if you don't have much luck with your problem because you can't think of anything or whatever, feel free to contribute to the other problems, but we'll take one problem each to present. So we'll present the problem and what we think might be a possible solution. So the first thing you need is the link. So if you have the Verbling chat, you've got it there, and I'll now share it in the other chat box. So hopefully you can all click on that. Please let me know if you can't find it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go down the list of problems, and I would like you to choose one. So if you want to go for that problem, let me know. Let me just put a bit of a document up so that we can see what we're doing. Okay. make that font a bit bigger. Share the screen. All right. So the first problem is pronunciation. Does anyone want to go for pronunciation? I'll start typing up the problems. If you want to go for one, just call out and I'll put your word, your name next to the word. So the second one is usage of words or phrases. How to use things you've learned. Forgetting things easily. We'll number these. Nope. Number 3. Then we've got writing, getting it correct. 5 is not enough time to study. So Anna, I think, is commenting. Guys, if you can just to be misinterpreted. So can I add that one on here, Anna? Misinterpretation?
Yes, Amy. I was trying to explain to you, you know, because sometimes you know the meaning of something, you know, but you don't know how to use it properly.
Yeah.
And you don't know what you are trying to convey, you know.
Yeah, sure. So
And
it's
then
just sort of related to being polite in a way.
Yes, but you don't intend to sound, you know.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
very awkward.
Okay, so whoever wants to take that one can interpret it and expand it a little bit according to what Anna means. So that's fine. What else have we got? Phrasal verbs. Prepositions. Prepositions. Let's put hating, struggling with grammar. Accents. Alright, so here's a list of stuff, and your solutions can be anything you like, guys. Okay, so it might be something that you find in the article. It could be a technique, something that you can do to change the way you study. It could be resources, like any websites that are really handy for practicing grammar that you know, or some great YouTube videos that explain things really well. For number 3, forgetting things. Maybe it could be something that you use, a technique or a way of remembering, or whatever you like. So let's see if we can choose one of these. So let's go through one by one. Natasha, which one would you like to go for? Number 5 for Ksenia. Are you there, Natasha? No? All right. Jose, which one would you like to go for?
Writing.
Writing. All right. Jose is going to solve all our writing problems for us. Spelled Ksenia's name wrong. Jean, which one would you like to go for?
Prepositions.
Okay. Well done. Awesome. How about you, Estella?
Pronunciation.
You want to do the same one as John?
No, prepositions, no. Pronunciation.
Ah, sorry. Pronunciation. All right, perfect. Well done. Edson, which one do you want to go for?
Can I choose 2? Like pronunciation
sure.
and accent.
Okay, so I'll put you both with those 2. Okay, Anna's already... No, Anna hasn't chosen. Which one do you like to do, Anna?
Number 2.
Okay. And Ahmed, which one would you like to do?
No enough time.
Okay. So this is Ahmed as well. And Adnan, which one for you?
Actually, I want writing, but I think can I use writing with
Yeah,
jokes?
sure. That's okay, because we can have, I'm sure, different ideas from each other. One thing to worry about. So, okay, that's our list, guys. I'm going to leave that up just so that you can remember what you're doing. I'll give you about, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll just make a short little. It's not exactly a presentation, it's just your ideas. And when you do share your ideas, other students will be welcome to add or take away or whatever, to see if we can come up with some solutions. So don't forget to check out the article. Actually, I will just show you quickly so that we all know what we're looking at. It's this article here. There are 6 different points. So if you want to figure out what they mean and see if they apply to your point, that's great. Have a quick flick through, and we'll meet back here shortly to share our ideas. So good luck. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'll be here for the whole time. See you soon. Just to let you know, guys, if at any point you feel like you're finished and ready, just let me know, either by saying something or typing something, so I can see how well you're getting on with it. Cool, thank you.
Sorry, teacher, but it's supposed to read?
You can use the article to help you, Edson, so you might want to read some parts of it, or you just might want to ignore it. It's up to you. Just use it as a resource to help you come up with a solution to the problem, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I already have it.
Okay, thank you, Estella. So we've got 2 people ready. We'll just a few more minutes and then we'll present.
Okay.
I think I'm ready to.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys. So what we'll do is we'll get started with those of you who are ready, and the others of you can keep on thinking if you like, and come join us when you are. So, Anna, since you were first, would you like to go for us and tell us how we can solve this problem of usage and phrases and being impolite?
Okay. Actually, I wish I could give you all a great piece of advice to solve a problem like this one, because it is the worst problem in English in my eyes, because this one can lead to a lot of trouble and can put you in hot water. It's the only mistake that she can really harm you, you know, because it can make people really mad at you. And what happens to me is that's the thing. I have a message that and I tend to transmit and I put it in words which to me best reflect what I'm thinking. But many things, can intervene to prevent the intended message from being received. And sometimes I simply learned in a new expression or idiom, and I'm dying to use, and I'm dying to say, and then I think, oh my gosh, I'm going to show off now because my English is awesome. And when I use it, my gosh, I wish I could vanish because teacher, yes, it is awful. If you are trying to be nice, to say something good and you sounding polite, it's the most embarrassing and awkward thing that can happen to someone.
Yes,
And
that's true. So what can we do about it, Anna?
Okay. First of all, you cannot use everything in a class, in a group class, for instance, because the teacher can get mad at you, can block you, you can be expelled from the course, and it doesn't matter if you try to explain. You have to be careful about how to use English, and you have to get a teacher in private and ask about all expressions, but it has to be a teacher that you can trust, someone who likes you, and also someone who is honest, because the person likes you but is very lenient, the person would say that everything is okay to say. I think it's okay. I think it's okay. And then you say in a group class and the teacher, oh no, this girl or this woman is very impolite. I don't want her in my class.
Okay, great ideas, Anna.
Mm.
Actually, I had a student who did this, and she learnt a lot. So I think that's an excellent solution to the problem.
Yes,
Did you have anything
teacher.
else you wanted to add?
Yes, but that solution costs an arm and a leg now. That the dollar
True.
is going through the roof. So I don't know. I wish I could have a better solution.
All right, well, that's a start. And if any of the other students want to add anything, they're welcome. But thank you for sharing that, Anna. Awesome. So next was, I think, Estella. Are you ready to give us your solutions, Estella?
Yes, I am.
Cool, let's go for it.
So for improving the pronunciation, I think it's useful to listen to podcasts in English, like such as the BBC and those things. I think it's also useful to watch TV movies and series.
Yeah.
In English, of course.
Yeah.
I think also it's useful that in YouTube we have channels with English pronunciation.
Yeah.
And I think it really can help.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, maybe it's to have or to meet with English speakers.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, once a week or something.
Yeah.
With Erasmus or I don't know. And for example, you can also record your voice to know how you sound.
Yeah.
And you can improve with that. And another thing is listening to music.
Yeah.
Of course. And I don't know, there are a lot of things.
Excellent. Thank you. That was like a flood of ideas, Estella. Awesome. So they're all really, really good. I think the important thing is that with pronunciation, the quality of your listening is important. You need to listen for the pronunciation. How are the speakers saying things? Not just what they're saying, but how they're saying it. Awesome. Thank you very much, Estella. Who was next? I think maybe Edson.
Yes, as I mentioned, pronunciation accent. Currently, I am using a book and there is a CD. I put it and I try to record my voice from reading the book, and I try to listen to the CD to see how is my voice is bad is getting better or is getting worse or my pronunciation. And my accent is terrible as well, because some words, some vocabulary is difficult for me, even for me to understand myself sometimes, because sometimes I speak very fast, even my own language. I speak very fast, and my friends do not understand me, and it makes it difficult. But I use as well YouTube. For example, I hear guys talk to each one, and I try to record my voice to see to heard what they are talking to, and I try to record my voice and to see if it's kind of similar or different, very different, the accent and pronunciation of the word as well. Because pronunciation of the words, when you pronounce it, for example, a verb or adjective or the verb, I don't know. If another guy does not understand you, it makes difficult to the conversation between the guy and me, and they probably he's gonna look at me. What you are trying to say? What you mean by saying this? And I have to. This difficult with the pronunciation. I try to say over and over again to for him to understand, and this kind of situation. But what has been and helped me a lot is about the book. I hear the book sorry, I read the book, I record my voice, and I record it even more and more, and
Great.
some difficult
Thank you.
words as well.
You can practice. All right, Edson, that's a great idea. Reading along to an audiobook and recording your voice and then comparing. Awesome. Thank you so much, Edson. Okay, let's go next to Jean, who's doing prepositions. What have you got for us, Jean?
I think first of all is as in the article mentioned, is repeat and repeat and repeat is, I think, is something very important. Try to practice, and before to practice, as in the article mentioned, is do not reinvent the wheel, but you can find the right technique to you to basically fit for the way you learn. This is something important. You need to identify what is the best way to learn and what is the best time for you to learn, and identify what is your most common mistake. And you have a 80-20 rule. I don't know if you hear about that when you identified 80% of your problems in 20% of the most common things or your most common mistake. As soon as you identify what is your problem, try to embrace your problem and say, okay, if my problem is with this specific preposition, I will practice and practice until I get comfortable with this, use this preposition, and I can jump to another preposition, because exists a lot of rules, and maybe some of these rules you are not using too frequently, and doesn't make sense. Learn something that you maybe will use once in a while. It's better if you improve where in the main point where you are struggling.
Awesome. Jean, that's a brilliant solution, and I've heard about this 80-20 rule before. But a really good way of sort of really improving fast as well, and focusing on those things that you just do wrong all the time, because most of the time it is only a few things. And as a teacher, this is absolutely true, because I'm often telling certain students the same things again and again and again. So if you find out what your 80% problems are in your little 20% of the amount, then should help. Thank you, Jean. Awesome point. Okay, so next up is Ksenia for not enough time.
Okay. You can't learn English all time long, because you have to sleep, eat, work, exercising, resting. But with some items you can kill two birds with one stone. For example, while you're exercising, you can repeat some vocabulary. So while you're running, you can learn new words. While you're resting, I prefer rest with books or TV shows. So I watch TV shows and read books on English. For me, it's very useful. I know the accent. I think I improve my accent with TV shows, and while I'm reading books, it helped me with grammar, words, and so on. And I think the third one, you should stop multitasking. Multitasking. Yes.
Yeah, multitasking.
Yes, you should scroll down your Instagram or visit your profile, email. I think you should block these windows for a while you're learning. It's very helpful.
All right, awesome solutions, Ksenia. I like the way that you're so specific. So thank you. Let's see if Ahmed would like to add anything. Is Ahmed still here? Seems to have disappeared. All right, we'll see if he comes back. And thank you, Ksenia, for that one. Let's go to Jose, who's going to talk about writing. Tips for writing.
Okay, to improve your writing, you have to follow 8 points. I think you have to brush up on the basics. You have to start writing simple sentences. When you are feeling confident about it, you have to go to the next step. You have to write more complex sentences. The second point is that you have to write like it's your job. You have to write 3 or 4 essays per week, and you have the third point is that you have to read like it's your job, because the best writers are also keen readers. I think the fourth point is you have to find a writing partner or a good teacher in order that the teacher check or review the essays. And the fifth point is that you have to write about topics that you like.
Okay.
The sixth point, you have to eliminate unnecessary words. The seventh point is that you don't have to be afraid about writing. What do you think? And the last one is that you have to be creative. You don't have to plagiarize any essays, because it doesn't have make sense.
Wow, Jose, that was like a barrage of awesome points. Thank you. I take all of those ideas. Let's see if Adnan, would you like to add or mention anything else, because you also chose writing? What would you like to add to that list?
I think just he said all what I want. But
he said everything that you thought of?
yeah. But just one thing in addition, I want to say, you have to write what you love, what you like. For example, I like football. I think it's a good idea to write about football, about your team. I think this is a good idea. When you write something you like it, I think you will get benefit from it.
Absolutely. Good point. Definitely great point. I think this is also applicable to other situations, Adnan, not just writing. Reading as well, watching things as well. If you find things that you enjoy, it's much easier to actually watch them and continue than if you're trying to struggle through something that you wouldn't actually read in your own language or write. Okay, everybody's been awesome. Now, have I missed anybody out? No? Okay.
It's me, I'm sorry.
Oh, Natasha!
Yes!
Sorry, so you disappeared at some point, and what we've been doing, have you been following what we've been doing?
I would like to say about forgetting things easily, it's my problem, and I suppose that first of all we have to be motivated, and in this case it will be easy for us to find more important and interesting things which we would like to learn. Also, I like the rule about 80 and 20% because I absolutely agree with this. I mean that we have to use, first of all, only useful and significant for us things, rules, words, and try to use them daily in our English speech with other people or with themselves, and constantly improving our knowledge by learning new words, new phrasal verbs, and repetitive them as well.
Okay, so continuous learning. Do you think that would and repetition? How about that?
Yes, and believe themselves that we have reached our goals at the nearest time.
Well done. Awesome one to add on to the end, Natasha. Okay, so guys, that was a superb little brainstorm, and I think some of those ideas were really, really helpful, even for me. As a teacher, you're always trying to think of ideas that will help your students. I think some of the key things that stood out for me were the 80-20 rule, which can apply in lots of different situations, and also the fact that you need to do something you're interested in, and there's so many resources out there. It's worth spending a bit of time finding something that interests you because it will keep you going. So, if you guys don't mind, I'd like to actually share some of these on my Verbling Facebook page because I think they will help all the other students. So, if anyone does not want me to share their ideas, please let me know in the chat box or after class or whatever. But what I will do is create a post and add these ideas, maybe some more that I think of, and open it up, so if anyone else wants to visit my Facebook page and add some more ideas, then please feel free, because I think it's a useful thing. We had a couple of problems, like inability to explain things missed out, so I'll see if I can add some ideas for that. Does anyone want to add anything further before we go? Nope, I've used up all your brain energy for today. I hope not. I hope if you carry on with your next classes, try and put some of these ideas into practice. Have a great evening, guys. Lovely to see you again today. Maybe I'll see some of you tomorrow. Take care. See you later.
Okay, Amy, bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Punctuations, everything shall be good.
Yes.
So writing is the most hard thing for me. Also, I use writing a lot in my work in English. Actually, sometimes we don't care about these details. You tell us about it, but it's still very hard for me.
Yeah.
To make a good grammar, to make all this, everything is perfect. It's very, very hard for me.
Yeah, for sure. So I think the thing that you're sort of saying about writing, Ahmed, is that all of your mistakes are on the paper for everybody to see, right? When you're speaking, it's kind of like, oh, you can skip by a few things, and if you make the odd mistake, it's not such a big deal. But with writing, it's there forever, right?
Yeah.
So can be a bit, yeah. I know what you mean. All right, so welcome. And thank you for sharing that one. So we've got a bit of a list going on here. What we're going to try and do is to try and come up with some ideas to help these problems later on. So, Ksenia, how are you today?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you.
Wonderful. How many eyelashes have you been done lately? Have you been working hard?
No, actually, I because the winter is coming, or something like winter, I feel lazy, so I don't work a lot.
Fair enough, Ksenia. So maybe you can put some time towards your English instead. What do you find the most annoying thing, as I'm trying to explain, is that we're going to be sharing our tips, basically, for how we can learn a language better. What works for us? What are the useful things to do, to use, resources, techniques, whatever it might be. So if you've booked a slot in this class, do come along in now. Apologies for the weird beginning of this class, but we'll see if we can get on with it. And just while we're waiting, if you haven't ever checked out Verbling teacher pages on Facebook, you might want to check those out because there's a lot of useful info there, and you're able to get in touch with us if you have questions or if you'd like to find out more about what's going on here on Verbling. So, with that said, what we're going to do is just say hi to the students, and my question for the beginning of today's class is, what do you find the most frustrating thing about learning English? What's the thing that really gets you annoyed? So we'll say first of all hello to Anna. Can you start us off, Anna?
Hello, teacher. Nice
Hi.
to see you.
Nice to see you too.
What was your question?
My question was, what's the most frustrating thing for you about English?
To say something and don't pronounce it well, and people don't understand what I am saying.
Okay.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
But it's not the worst. The worst thing is and when you learn something and you
Okay, awesome. Hi Anna, hi Edson. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah,
Yes.
normal.
Awesome, cool. I don't know what's happening down there, but I'll just ignore that. All right, so excuse that. I'm just going to introduce what we're doing today. This class is all about learning. So this is something that's relevant to everybody on Verbling because we're all learning a language, and languages can actually be notoriously tough to learn. They just take such a long time to get to a good level. It can sometimes be a bit disheartening when you invest hours and hours and hours of your time and you still feel like you're making slow progress. So today what we're going to do is have a look at an article with some tips for learning things faster. And we're going to see what we can do about helping share tips and share advice. Oh, that was weird. Right, I'm back, I think. I knew there was something funny about that. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry for that. Okay, so let's carry on. Anyway, the point of this class
Can learn them. I can have them in my memory more longer.
So yeah, I see your point, Natasha. It does take a very long time to actually put things that you learn in your long-term memory, right? You can remember them for like a day, but then if you don't practice them, you forget them again. Good point. All right, thank you for sharing that. Wonderful. Welcome to the class.
Thank you.
Susan, hello again. How are you today? Are you there, Susan? No, I can't hear you actually. That's a bit strange. All right, I will come back to you in a moment. Let's say hello to Ahmed. How are you, Ahmed?
I'm fine, thank you.
Wonderful. Tell us what you find really frustrating about English, learning English.
Many things actually. I think
the list is long.
The most frustrating thing for me is writing, I think.
Okay, why?
It's because I think when I just want to write in a formal way and I had to take care of grammar.
You use it wrongly, and then you sound different than you wanna sound. For instance, I will give you an example. Once I learned that we should use on earth to emphasize things, but I had no idea that I could sound impolite this way.
All right, yes, I think that's you've brought up two really good points, but particularly the second one that you mentioned, I think is something that is really difficult because you can learn, you can memorize words or you can memorize phrases, but it's very difficult to find out actually how they're used, with what other words do they go, and where do they go in the sentence, and all of that kind of thing. So good point, great start. Thank you, Anna, and welcome. Natasha, hello, how are you today?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you for asking. What about you?
I'm great, thank you also. So Natasha, tell us, what is the most frustrating thing about learning English for you?
For me, Okay, I think that I spent a lot of time by learning new English words, but unfortunately I forgot them very quickly. So I need to repeat them again and again, and only in this case I